The first week of May is Teacher Appreciation Week, when we recognize educators nationwide for their commitment to preparing students for the future. However, this career field is in critical need of support as the national teacher shortage continues to impact schools K through 12, especially in the state of Florida. Elizabeth Alaman is a FIU student studying early childhood education and a teacher's assistant at Pinecrest Glades Academy.
I'm working with 3 grade levels rather than 1 grade level because we don't have someone who's qualified or who wants to work in either kinder or first, so I'm doubling up on the workload. It's a lot, and I feel like sometimes these students don't get the one-on-one instruction that they need. So it's definitely something that, I'm sure that our school is aware of, but there's really not much we can do with no one wanting to either work or they're not being qualified.
Chair and computer science teacher Adam Bernstein is witnessing the effects of the shortage on the Magnet High School where he works in Miami-Dade County.
So one way that the teacher shortage has impacted the education field is also with the shortage of substitute teachers. And the way in which my school district handles it is we use a third-party company called Kelly Services that hire and vet the substitute teachers, and they match us two together. But the teacher shortage has mostly had an impact on students. Think about foundational skills. If students aren't getting it early on, then when they're moving to the next grade level, they have that gap in their learning, and it just continues. Throughout their high school career, the middle school career, elementary, it just builds upon one another. So that's definitely a huge impact. The impact it has on the school and teachers is it creates more work for other people. So teachers are now having to create lessons for classrooms that don't have a teacher. Administrators are having to ensure that there is coverage for these classes, ensuring that they are able to find teachers as soon as they possibly can. So it creates more work, I think, for the adults in a school, but the biggest impact is on children's learning and their success as they grow.
Teachers and administrators' voices come second to those of local government officials, parents, and students alike, overshadowing their experiences and negating the toll the shortage has had personally and professionally. News outlets across the country echo these statements as they continue to report on the effect the national teacher shortage is having on our local communities.
In the middle of what many are calling a nationwide teacher shortage, one question looms. Who is going to teach our kids when people who don't want to teach anymore leave their jobs?
The country's teacher shortage is continuing into 2023. Over the last 2 years, vacancies have doubled in the state of Florida.
Well, summer has just started, but school districts all across the state, including right here in Volusia County, are trying desperately to fill positions, many of which have been vacant since the pandemic.
Dr. Andrea Edelman is a clinical associate professor in early childhood education and serves as director of the early childhood education program at FIU.
We are not paying our teachers for all of the responsibilities we're giving them. And speaking of responsibilities, those have gotten a lot higher. They're now responsible to teach to these high stakes tests. And if the kids don't pass, it reflects poorly on them when there's so many different variables that are in play. But then lastly, schools are war zones. Aside from the obvious, our students are becoming more violent. There's a lot more externalizing behaviors where teachers are getting attacked.
According to the 2023 State of the American Teacher Survey, the American Teacher Panel highlighted managing student behavior, supporting student academic learning, and administrative work were top sources of job-related stress for teachers. They go on to report that teachers who intended to leave were most likely to cite the stresses and disappointments of the job not being worth it, their salary, and the number of working hours as top reasons behind their decision. Parent Tiffany Rodriguez is also feeling the impact of the teacher shortage as her kids progress through the Palm Beach County school system.
So I have 2 children. One is in preschool and one is in first grade. I've noticed that the depletion of available teachers, I should say, is really affecting both of them. My daughter, the one in preschool, they don't have enough teachers and they're not able to get the appropriate teachers for that age group. What's ended up happening is that they've raised our tuition to compensate and make it a more attractive package to get teachers to that school. On the other side, my son is in first grade. This is a fundamental year for him in learning. Not only in language arts, the basics of reading and phonics, we have a strong focus on math. He loves math, and I want to promote math for him and make it fun. What's ended up happening is that the teacher to student ratio is completely different than it was last year. There are too many students per teacher. The teachers are overwhelmed and they're not able to give the individualized attention that the students need in order to master these different important focus areas.
The National Center of Education Statistics reported 44% of their students did not begin the 2023-2024 school year at grade level in at least one academic subject. Results from the center's School Pulse panel indicated 82% of public schools are offering some type of tutoring program. Sean Prospect is the executive director of the FIU After School All-Stars program and has been a part of the organization since 2004.
The teacher profession is such a valuable profession, but not only in the day school, but also in an after-school setting. Fortunately enough, I'm able to hire over 300 teachers to work on our after-school programs every single day. We compensate them for their time because they deserve to be compensated, and I wish I could compensate them more because of the value that they bring to these children.
As the school year ends, parents and educators are preparing for the summer and contemplating what's next.
When I go into work, it doesn't feel like work. I enjoy what I do, but it is challenging, but I always feel like you just have to find that balance. And if you're able to find that balance and, lowering your limits, not staying after work, at 6 o'clock to get something done, I feel like if you know that balance, then you should be good.
So as we're kind of getting ready and gearing up to go into summer, I've been considering alternative options. I don't think that Matthew can continue successfully in his current school. And I think that we are looking realistically to transfer him. It might be a private school. I'm even considering homeschooling at this point. I need to make sure that he is going to receive the attention and support that he needs to be successful.
I love being a teacher. It's really about the students and seeing them grow and develop. It's the most rewardingest thing ever to see. But I think for me, I'm starting to get to that point in my teaching career where because of the cost of living, especially in South Florida and even the whole world, it's just insane the last 2 years with inflation. I'm at the point where I really have to consider, do I make enough money to actually survive, to pay bills, and basic necessities? I'm not talking travel. I'm just talking like paying rent. And teaching salary isn't doing that at the moment. So I love what I do. I love the kids. I love teaching. But if I can't pay bills, it's starting to consider something else.